Welcome to Alexa's Tech Room, a step up from the iPad version if you must use your Kindle for audio. Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition 32 GB with a 6. This product is sold by Amazon. Product linked in the description below. Get more with Signature Edition, everything in the Kindle Paperwhite. Propose built for reading with a flush front design and 300p glare-free display that reads like real paper, even in bright sunlight. More reading time. A single charge via USB-C or compatible key wireless charger sold separately now lasts up to 10 weeks. Adjustable screen now with adjustable warm light and auto-adjusting front light for a personalized reading experience day or night. More books in more places. Store thousands of titles, then take them all with you. Find new stories with Kindle Unlimited. Get unlimited access to over 2 million titles, thousands of Odd Nio books, and more. Go hands-free pair with an Audible subscription and Bluetooth headphones or speakers to listen to your story. 4.7 out of 5 stars. The item has a total of 9,603 reviews. Product linked in the description below. The first review is from Crank. A step up from the iPad version if you must use your Kindle for audio. 4.0 out of 5 stars. This is a copy of my main review in the iPad device category, appended with differences for this 3012 version. 4 stars unless you don't need the space, and then it becomes redundant and too expensive. Fact is, most people simply don't need this space, and it is useless for most by the time they upgrade due to batteries becoming less efficient. The aesthetics look nice, and overall it's mostly the same as my last one. A bit easier to get in and out compared to 7th General. At the heart of it all, this is still just another updated version of the Paperwhite. But it could be mandatory because it polishes the lighting and page turning to a degree that makes the old devices feel awkward. I don't see myself getting another one for a decade. And that leaves 2 questions remaining. How is the battery life? Battery life seems improved. I wouldn't call it all that great on full brightness, but it's definitely an upgrade from anything before. Battery life is critical. I have run into few issues with my normal settings. Right now, I can see that it drains decently fast on max brightness, but it also has an array of 17 LEDs lighting it. Odd Nio books tend to take a lot more space, and it might be for this user that the 3012 is most appropriate. On lower brightness, it appears to be very conservative with battery life, much the same as last time but probably better. It's tough to say when you are comparing older batteries to newer ones. This will be an ongoing process to be updated in the review every now and then. On the lowest brightness, it is off, of course, for those that prefer the older Kindle experience and extended usage without a charge. This produces a charge that lasts a very long time. For me, I see no reason to keep Wi-Fi on, and the complaints about that particular setting coming from 2018 seem slightly obtuse. Shut it off when your library is downloaded. Problem solved. With full brightness, you aren't going to get a ton of life, but I also recommend against full brightness as it doesn't really resemble paper at that point. On medium settings, which I prefer, battery life seems completely acceptable and better than before. You can hold 20-40 Odd Nio books on an iPad device, so for people that must have Odd Nio books on a Kindle as opposed to their smartphone with better speakers and more memory, then maybe this is for you. If you are currently using a device below the Paperwhite 2018, then definitely you could think about an upgrade if you are in the market for a new e-reader. I cannot overstate how much better this is than my 7th General. I rarely even used that model, and I will definitely be clocking in some time with this one due to the screen and response time. It's a huge motivating factor to actually take out my Kindle now. Previous versions do not match up. Coming from 2018, I would say this is a fairly huge upgrade, and most will want to eventually make the change. The screen is too versatile to pass up. I don't think an immediate upgrade is necessary, but most will want this as their baseline going forward. The 2018 version has too many issues, and this fixes most of them. Economically, this might not be an option for many, but I would prefer audio on a device of my choosing that had better options for sound. To somewhat help out, you definitely will want to get this in the bundle with the leather case, which I included a picture of at the bottom. It's a nice case, way too expensive by itself, and kind of mandatory, in my experience. The bundle also includes a trade-in option. Definitely do not buy the case separately. No need to give Amazon any more of your money than necessary. Outside of that, you can be sure I will remain critical of this device. If anything goes wrong, becomes damaged or defective, I will immediately add that info to my review. No shilling is allowed here. Freezes have gone completely away as of the recent firmware update in 1.14. The wireless charging is basically non-deal changer for me. 1. For those on the fence, it is best to wait a few months to see how things turn out. For now, I enjoy the device and have only a few issues. Going forward, I hope to actually use a Kindle consistently for the first time. If I rated the Paperwhite 2018 1 star, then this one is around 4 stars. Will it replace my physical collection? Never. Paper lives on forever. A beggar's book outworths a noble's blood. I highly recommend having wireless off on the Kindle to save battery. Charging it works much the same as any device, but cords work fine for me as well, especially with the updated USB-C design. The Autolite is awkward mostly, and I have never used it on any device with one. For the extra money, I only find this device useful for people that absolutely need audio for their Paperwhite device. In full, I simply will not use the extra space, and the other features are useless. The 3012 version is, in my opinion, a bit overboard for most people, but if you have money to spend, it is probably the version you should get, especially if you enjoy audiobooks. Others may find them more appropriate. I don't see the point in paying Amazon more money. The lifeline of this device depends on the battery, and by the time I need 3012, if that ever happens, I will be getting a new device. Not bad, but too expensive as I mostly use physical books anyway. Overall review for the Paperwhite 2021 4 stars. Summary. Best screen of any Paperwhite or Kindle released to date. Best response time of any Paperwhite or Kindle. UI improvements. Weight and feel are exceptional. Screen has uneven area with color temp on high brightness. Expensive. Previous Kindles still do things in much the same way coming from the Paperwhite 2021 also handily beats the pulp out of the Paperwhite 2018 version due to its new LED array, and for my money it's a better choice than the Oasis 3, as well due to ergonomics. Add in some extra screen real estate compared to previous Paperwhites, a much nicer bezel, a few more options for the UI, and what we have is an extremely polished device for reading digital books. It's never going to make me switch totally from physical. The screen here is nearly perfect, and it will be the main factor attracting those coming from the previous 2018 model. If things were cheaper, this would be an essential upgrade for most people. The extra memory to me amounts to useless space, but I personally do not use Odd Nio Books or books with larger file sizes. I would not do without it if given the choice. Feel free to browse all the negative reviews from 2018. They were all right, but now it seems Amazon has finally finished their beta device. The screen itself is more matte than shiny, easy to wipe off, clear but not distracting, and fully able to replicate a physical book with its expanded dimensions. The Oasis 3, for instance, irritates me with its form factor. The Paperwhite 2018 has an ugly bezel as well. This is exactly what I wanted out of an e-reader. The Paperwhite 2021 is lit by 17 LEDs compared to 5 LEDs in the 2018 model, which leads to vastly superior balance. There are 24 gradations for both brightness and warmth, from off to mango warm, and they make a tangible and visible difference in proper aesthetics related to actual physical books. I have a fairly large library, and that still was working out all right on my 7th gen with 4 or less. The color options are great, but after some use there still seems to be a portion equating to about the bottom half of the screen on mine that is a very slightly greener hue as opposed to a warmer hue on top. Very hard to pick up for some people, but it's worth noting for users that want to use this on high brightness. I usually only use around 612 brightness to get proper coloring, and it's not really noticeable in lit rooms with these settings. I usually use the lovely dark mode at night, so in the end I'll say this issue really doesn't affect me much. Make no mistake though, the 2018 Paperwhite had an awful screen with a horrendous LED array, and this one is a massive upgrade. This 2021 version still has a fully stable lighting array that doesn't evoke a poor production run or haste in design, yet it's not perfect either. Blacks could definitely be deeper, with an OLED screen or something of the sort. Dark mode still looks good, but on higher brightness it appears a little too gray. Overall, I am satisfied at the advances that have been made, and my usual settings all look fantastic, and so much better than anything before. 6. For certain users this will be the proper device to get. 8 inches of screen along with 300 ppi is definitely enough to satisfy most demands for resolution, and the extra space may be convincing for one to switch from physical books. The bezel itself also looks properly designed finally. That alone is also another huge deal. The sides are thin, the screen is the main attraction, and there is no awkwardness in reading versus a real book. All additions that make this is a positive buy over the other Kindles. There is an extremely tiny trail of adhesive in one corner and edge at the very bottom right near the backing material and black area of the bezel. Pretty minor all told. Most won't even notice things like this, and most Kindles will probably have such a minor flaw. Compared to the 2018 version, this thing seems like an actual professional product. The UI responsiveness was another issue in previous models, and I am happy to report this one is very fast. For others, they should look at the IT model, or perhaps using your phone for audio. Massively faster than my 7th gen and a decent improvement over the older model. The Paperwhite 2018 uses a Freescalensp i.6 Sololite 1X processor. Not terrible, but also not quite enough to match the newer NXP i.7 1X chip used in the Oasis 3 and this model. Again, more refined version at every level compared to the older Paperwhite. For memory and storage, I can't see many people needing more than I did fine on my last Kindle with much less. Unless you plan on starting a small library, IT of memory is a perfect fit for anyone's lifetime. As for the user interface, major changes have resulted in a much better flow in overall design for most Kindles from 2015 onward. I highly recommend the Essentials bundles to save money. The swipe-down mechanic is leagues better than anything they've had before. The library UI that you tap in the upper left is again fast and finally consistent. These UI details are easy to spot in the included pictures with various lighting values, but they are available to most users outside of this product. Response and animation are a cut above their predecessors, and that should not be understated. I finally feel the Kindle is quick enough for my needs with digital reading. My 7th gen was abysmal. The 2018 version was slightly problematic. The newer page turn animation, however, was not to my liking, and I ended up sticking with the normal style. As a plus, the web browser is snappy and usable for those that need to quickly look something up on a search engine. A normal user could have 3,000 normal books on their device with the i. Exiting in and out of menus is a breeze, and opening or downloading books was efficient. I still wish there was a download all option, so I will be downloading from the website instead. And speaking of default, the designers have made sure that this Kindle is ready to use without even touching a setting. They clearly invested a lot in understanding how people want their Kindle to look. I found almost all default options to be optimal. I added one step to boldness in fonts and have toyed with the variable warmth quite a bit. Bookerly is a great font for reading, but there are obviously other options if you prefer. These things are basically as good as they need to be on this digital reader. More improvements with font selection could be possible, but are entirely superfluous to the current experience. Updating the firmware was painless for me past having to click no thanks for all the subscriptions Amazon wants to get you hooked on. Seeing as a ton of my books are Delphi collections, no thanks. No issues with connections or anything of the sort. Charging works perfectly via USB-C, a far better connector than the micro version. Adding and subtracting to the library was fast and convenient. Aesthetics and materials are premium. Other than the aforementioned pinprick trail of adhesive, I don't really like the Oasis 3, but it's definitely similar to that version with a better form factor. The leather case included with this bundle is what it is, completely overpriced, but nearly mandatory for the perfect feel and weight. I can't stand the feel of the device without the included case. I highly recommend the bundle. Our first question is from Just a Lilbity. Where is the power button located on the new version? I found the power button on the bottom of the current version to be a deal breaker. So the power button is at the bottom. I'm still on the fence on this one though. When my mother-in-law had upgraded her Kindle, she had given us the 8th generation, and I have to say, I despise the power button. Not so much the location of it, but it sticks horribly and is constantly resetting while I try to turn it on or off. The Thread, even though it was located at the bottom, never had a sticking issue because it was more of a switch than a push button. You had to move it to the right to turn it off and on. See less? I have two Kindles. The Thread with keyboard and the 8th generation 6. My Thread still works, though it no longer has the Thread wireless on it, and the battery doesn't last long at all. When my mother-in-law had upgraded her Kindle, she had give C more, so the power button is at the bottom. Product linked in the description below. For more content like this, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you are notified of new uploads. We upload new videos every day. See you next time.